For people who struggle to lose weight and feel like they've tried everything and nothing seems to work, especially women over 30, I get it, I understand. And you realize that when you were in your 20s, you could just eat a little less and move a little bit more, and that worked. And now it seems like you just get really overwhelmed and maybe stress happens in your life and then you do a little stress eating and nothing changes, or maybe just a few pounds, or maybe just drinking a little bit less water. You can lose a few pounds of water weight and you feel like nothing's changing. The stress piles up. You have more of a what we call cortisol response because you're feeling stressed, and then you're hanging on to more belly fat, and then you just get really frustrated. You have to realize that there is so much more at play here, and it's not your fault. I'm Dr. Tammy, and I have spent over 20 years in my medical practice helping people understand that it's not their fault. And yes, you are going to have to do some work, but you want to do work that's going to pay off, work that's going to benefit you. And I always tell people that when you want to be healthy and fit, that you have to adopt a plan, not a pill. And people always come to me and they want that quick fix pill, they want that diet pill, they want that stimulant, and they want to lose a few pounds. But I always tell them, you're just going to gain that back with interest. And I promise you, you don't want to do that. So you do have to understand just a little bit of nerdy science. And you know, it's crazy. Some people know more about their car by the user's manual in the glove box than they know about their own bodies. And one of the things that you have to know is, especially for women, after we get into our 30s and 40s, things start changing. And we have all these hormonal influences in the environment and stress and things that change our bodies. And you can just keep doing the same thing expecting a different result, or you can do something different. And that's what I have built my practice around, is doing something different. And you know, that's what they say the definition of insanity is, doing the same thing over again, expecting a different result. So over the years, when I've helped people balance their metabolic hormones and take back their power over this process, and it can be a little tricky and there's a little bit to know, but you know, one of the main things that you need to know is how to restore your metabolism. In that process, there's just a few simple things that you have to do, which is you have to get some of the sugar out of your diet, because we are just a sugar-laden, bombarded environment. So one of the things, and I had a friend come to me not too long ago, because I never wanted to be known as the weight loss doctor. I always wanted to be known as helping you balance your metabolism, and then weight loss is a side effect of that. But then I realized people just need help, and she was just asking for help. So that's when I created a supplement line to help people with that help. But also, it's not just a pill, it's a plan. How do you give them a plan to lay this out, to really the groundwork to taking charge of your health, especially if you are a woman over 30, 40, even men, they start having metabolic hormone changes as well. And what I have learned to help people with, when I made these pills that help with the plan, is to help them balance things called insulin, which are your sugar storage hormones, and cortisol, which are your belly fat hormones, or your adrenal fatigue type hormones that can cause so many troubles that way. So if we can help restore your energy, get your metabolism back on track, then the plan will work. So the plan is simple. It's basically, like I said, decreasing carbs in your diet. And one of the things with the insulin, with CarbMelt that I created, was that if you can block some of the carbs from being broken down, it actually will help some of that insulin resistance too. So it'll help with sugar cravings. You won't have those sugar crashes. You'll have much more energy, and your metabolism will be much more stabilized. But it's not about taking CarbMelt for life. That's not what I want. I don't want to sell you a pill for the rest of your life. I want to help you understand how to regain control. So with your hormones, there are very specific things that you can do and very specific eating patterns. And one of those is what I call hormone confusion. So when you eat carbs, you eat them in a certain pattern. So we create some carb confusion, and bodybuilders know this. They've known that for years. They know how to carb load. So I'm going to teach you in a plan exactly how to carb load, how to carb confuse your body, and how to keep your body like from getting in that rut and from the thermostat getting set at one certain degree. We want to be able to control that. And when you do something and you exercise a little more or eat a little bit less, you can see which way the scale moves based on what you're doing with your metabolism. So I also created BellyMelt, and sometimes people are like, why did you create the 2 different products? I'm like, because they do two different things. So if you need help with carbs and you crave carbs all the time, you're absolutely gonna need the CarbMelt because it's gonna help with that insulin metabolism. BellyMelt, since we know cortisol belly helps with things going on in the cortisol balance, because actually cortisol and belly fat is a protective mechanism, not always a beautiful thing, but we don't want that. So we need that protective mechanism. So that's why I created BellyMelt, to help with anyone who has adrenal fatigue or suspects that they might have any adrenal cortisol type problems. So they work well together. And people say, well, why didn't you put them together in one formulation? And that's because sometimes people that don't have insulin issues, or they just need to get off some belly fat and they have some adrenal fatigue issues, there's a perfect standalone for that. But they really do work better together. So if you want to get control of your metabolism and you want to actually get results from what you do and not feel frustrated all the time, you have to do something different. So I want to be that something different for you. I have struggled too. I had trouble once I got into my 30s losing weight and maintaining healthy balance, but once I understood how to exercise, and I can tell you, I spend less time exercising a week than I spend curling my hair. I spend less than 15 minutes a week exercising. So I'm going to share that with you in our plan. And I really eat things that I love. I just eat them in a certain system. So I hope that all of this is helpful for you and that you can actually see light at the end of the tunnel. And I hope that you will embrace this and step into this new plan for your life.